Good morning. You might have been wondering who is that masked man. Well, it's me. It's Pastor Brian, and a good morning to you all here on a Monday. I'm coming to you on Monday, June 15th. As I heard, yes, that is correct. So you're getting an extra day notice or identification of what day it is, reminder of what day it is. And just in case I took this off too soon, I was wearing my mask because I am in the church. I'm in the church office. And when I'm just in my office, I take it off. But as I'm walking around, especially if I'm, excuse me, um, seeing anyone or if there's other people in the building, I do wear my mask. Uh, but yes, so hopefully you were you were with us yesterday worshiping. I know many of you were, and you heard our big announcement that uh, the church will be restarting in-person worship on June 28th, and that also includes in-person Sunday school for the same date. Now, where did we come up with that date? A couple things I'm going to mention first of all. For the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks, I've been talking with various leaders of the church here at Christ UMC in Waynesboro. We met with the worship committee to go over all kind of things. And met with Dave Dietrich, the Christian education director, our pastor of my assistant pastor here, as well as other folks that have been just talking to and communicating with other pastors and churches in the area to create some guidelines to find out what are we going to do, how are we going to move forward through this as the time comes. Um, and one thing that came up very quickly, especially by the worship team, because we of course our county, Franklin County, did move into the yellow phase a couple weeks ago, May 28th or whatever it was. I don't have my date in front of me. I should have had that. May 29th, we did go into the yellow phase. And there were things that maybe we could have tried to do when we did that. But the worship team very quickly said, no, we don't want to try to mess around with any of those small things. We're going to wait until we go green. Uh, so this past week, after weeks of working on this, putting this together, I came up with a whole bunch of guidelines based on all those conversations that I'd been having with folks, and I presented it to the church council. We had a Zoom meeting this past Thursday to go through them, to fine tune a couple things, to have more conversation, really, is what that was, and some comments on some things, and to, to correct some of my mistakes. Yeah, because yes, I do occasionally make mistakes and put in a wrong word here or there, and they helped me straighten some of those things out, and I appreciate that. And that's when we came up with a date. What the church council decided, because this was Thursday evening, they said whenever the county goes green, we're going to restart worship 2 Sundays after that. Okay, so for a total of 9, since it's usually been taking place on Friday, we figured that gives us 9 days to get it taken care of. So we got the word on Friday that our county will be going to green this coming Friday, June 19th or whatever that is. I think it is the 19th now that I think about it. So the second Sunday after the 19th is June 28th. So that is when we will be restarting in person worship and restarting in person Sunday school. So I just wanted to let you know at least some of the things that we're going to be going through, some of the adjustments, some of the plans we've made to help make sure that not only that you are safe, but that you feel safe to rejoin us. Okay, so I'm going to go through at least some of them. I may not go through everything. It's actually a couple page document. I know. And we're not going to be like arrested. We're not going to be being real strict. These are guidelines, and we ask for your help in maintaining safety, because that is primary on our list, making sure that everyone is safe, at least as safe as we can possibly do. And it's going to count a lot on you. We're going to count a lot on you. So here we go. First off, when we restart, we will not be able to use the sanctuary to its full capacity because we don't want people too close together. We are following the guidelines of the CDC and the PA Department of Health, and the best recommendations we have from the science and medical field. And we want to encourage safe distancing. So we are not going to have the sanctuary used to its full capacity. We should be okay. So here's what we're going to ask you to do when you come to worship on the 28th and following. First, you might want to come a few minutes earlier than you might have in the past. Don't come rushing in at the last minute. Uh, and we ask you to sit together in family units. If you're part of a family unit, and what that would be was, folks that you live with in your house. You want to extend it beyond that? Okay, but let's not get carried away with third cousins or something like that. The point is to try to limit that to folks who live together. And if you live together, sit together. So we encourage you to sit together in a group. If you're not part of a group of a family unit such as that, we're going to ask that you keep a little distance from each other. So that might end up meaning that a pew only gets half used, and that's okay. That's okay. We're not going to try to pack everybody into one pew. It may also we're also going to ask you to not sit directly behind someone. So please don't sit directly behind someone and don't sit right next to someone. Leave a few feet to your side. Again, if necessary, leave half of a pew empty and just take a different row and not sit directly behind someone. So that's what we're asking. The ushers are going to be trying to help with that. Again, we're not going to yank people out of pews, but if you need some help finding a spot and making sure that you're sitting in a good place, they'll do that for you. Now, it's hard to gauge exactly how many people are going to be able to fit in the sanctuary. I measured all the pews and I'm trying to do some math, which is, but the big part is guessing how many family units we're going to have, how many family groups we're going to have together. My estimate is that we're going to have somewhere between 80 and 90 people that we're going to be able to fit in the sanctuary. Um, Once we reach that number, we'll have the doors are going to be open into Frank Hall. Okay, the doors are going to be open into Frank Hall. So once we hit a number that we really can't fit anymore in the sanctuary, we'll have chairs there, so you could sit there in Frank Hall. You'll be able to see and hear everything that takes place, and you'll still be with people, which is that's the best part of the whole thing too, isn't it? So that's how we're going to handle that. Um, we are going to continue to offer digital worship. We'll continue to live stream here on Facebook. In fact, it might even be getting a little bit better as we have some new equipment on order that should help us do even a better job than we've been doing, and that's what we want. So we're going to continue to offer that. So if for any reason you don't feel safe, you don't feel comfortable, perhaps you're living in an area, a community such as Quincy, that may have different restrictions, and you may not be allowed to come out. You can still watch us here on Facebook or on YouTube. We also ask that if you're not feeling well for any reason, please stay home. That might sound harsh, but it's not meant to. We want you to be safe. We want everyone to be safe. Don't feel compelled to come, especially on the first week if you're still unsure about anything too. We will be, of course, still doing two worship services. We'll go back to the two worship services. So one is 8:15, and the second is 10:45. Okay, 8:15 and 10:45. And I just noticed I forgot to change the date on that one, the time on the one on my paper. But it is 8:15 is the early service, 10:45 is the second service. But only the 10:45 service will be live streamed. There's not really enough difference between our two worship services in my mind to justify doing the two. So we'll be continuing doing them. Now, here's another option: is what I'm gonna what would we what would qualify as classify as a house church. Perhaps your house is fairly roomy, you're big. Would you feel comfortable in hosting a family or two, maybe ones you know, maybe ones you don't know, to come sit with you and worship together in your place while watching our live stream? If that's something you're interested in, if you'd be interested in hosting a house church, contact me. Let me know. We'll try to put that together. And if you'd be interested in, maybe you can't host it, but you'd be interested in being one of the guest families, let me know, and we'll put you together. We'll work that whole thing out. We are going to be asking you to wear masks when you're coming into the church, while you're here, and while you're exiting. And they can be one of the cloth masks that so many folks have. Like I said, you might have seen me wearing this earlier. And we have some of these here in the church as well. We had a couple folks that made a bunch for us. Uh, or maybe it's going to be the paper disposable ones, whatever you might have. Bring them with you and please wear them while you're here in the building and coming and leaving. If you come and, oh my goodness, I forgot my mask, we're not going to send you home. We'll have extras here and they will be offered to you, provided to you. And we ask that you wear them. We're not going to force people to wear them, but uh, we really just want everyone to not only be safe, but to feel safe. And my wearing a mask might help you feel safe. So just think about that, please. Now, this is a hard one, especially for me, because I love music so much. But the best science, for not only from CDC, but also I've heard from Matt Levine, our music director here, that he's heard a lot about it in some of his groups, his professional music groups that he's part of, that live singing, group singing, communal singing, such as we would normally do on a Sunday morning, isn't good, because even while wearing a mask, since you're not just expelling air, you're forcefully pushing it out there. The germs, the droplets can still get through the cloth. Yes, I mean, is the risk slight? Well, yeah, it's definitely slighter than if we aren't wearing masks, but it's still there. So what they're asking from us, and we're asking from you, um, is to refrain from singing, or at least from refrain from singing loudly when we're doing music, because we're still going to have music. Our plans are to have a couple folks up front on the chancel area, spaced apart, probably not wearing masks in order to sing, but far enough away from everybody that it should be safe to sing some of those hymns that we love and fit so well and help add to the service in so many ways. But while you're sitting in the sanctuary, we would ask that you maybe sing softly, or even just hum along, hum along. We don't know how long that's going to last, because each of these guidelines, of course, this is a flexible document. As more information comes up, we will be making adjustments to things. Okay, so we're not saying this is going to last forever, but for now, we're not going to be forcefully singing together. All right, and again, I know that's hard, but we will have music and we'll have some folks singing, and we'll still have that. Now, when you arrive on a Sunday morning, you might notice that there's going to be one or two of the doors won't be open. We're going to try to limit the number of doors that we use, and here's why. Um, for contact purposes, really. The doors that we're going to want to use, we're going to have somebody stationed there, uh, probably wearing gloves, probably wearing gloves, opening the door for you. Okay, opening the door for you, because you don't have to be wearing gloves. We don't want people walking around wearing gloves. You don't need to do that. Really doesn't help all that much unless you're in the medical field, unless you're taking care of someone, or in this case, unless you're going to be touching something a lot. So rather than having 50, 80, 100 people touching a door, handling a knob or press bar, a keypad, whatever the case is, we're only going to have one person at several of the doors doing that for you. They're going to watch for you when they see you coming. They're going to open the door, make sure they're out of the way, and let you in. All right. We just think that's going to be easier and safer and cleaner, and that's part of the big thing, is we're going to make sure that everything's clean and sanitized before we get here. We're also going to be sanitizing all the pews, used or not, in between services. In between services. Uh, we're going to have hand sanitizer at several different locations. For now, unfortunately, it's going to be the pump bottles that we've been using in the past. However, you handle it. You just handle it once. Press down a little and use the stuff to clean your hands off. Because if your hand gets dirty touching the handle, it's going to get clean when you use the hand sanitizer. And we're going to have that in a few different locations. However, the trustees have contracted with a company that's going to provide us with uh, automatic dispensing machines, and they're on order. Unfortunately, they're on back order because I think so many businesses and houses of worship are doing the same thing that they're just behind on stock. So in the meantime, you're just going to have to use what we can, or bring your own hand sanitizer. You might have a little bottle you can carry in your purse, your pocket, your man bag, whatever the case might be, um, and just use that and do it often. We encourage you to do it often. Here's a couple other of the big changes that you'll notice when you come to worship. We have removed all of the attendance pads, all of the hymnals, and all of the Bibles from the sanctuary, from the pews. But that's because, excuse me, that's because somebody might use one at the 8:30 service, and someone else might be using it at the 10:45 service. And we wouldn't have the time to clean all the Bibles and hymnals and things like that in between. So rather than tempting anybody, we're just going to remove. We've removed them from the sanctuary. That many less things for us to try to clean and sanitize. That many less things that might potentially infect you. So since there's no singing, at least not with full volume. That's not so big a deal. In fact, we're probably going to put the lyrics to the hymns, maybe up on the screen, so you can at least follow along with your humming and soft singing. But we encourage you to bring your Bibles from home so that you can follow along on that, and maybe we'll put the words to those on the screen as well. But you'll notice that those are gone. We also, at least temporarily, won't be using printed bulletins. So here's what we're going to continue to do. Bev has been posting a bulletin online, both on the website and here on Facebook. Usually on Thursday or Friday before worship, before the Sunday of worship, and which you're able to either download, print, or keep in a digital form, whatever, and use as we're doing our digital worship. And we'll continue to do that. We'll continue to post it. So if you absolutely have to have a printed bulletin in your hand, something to hold on to, we just ask that you'll print your own at home and bring it with you. That way we don't have to worry about Bev handling the paper, me handling the paper, the ushers, or somebody else handling the paper, folding it all up, and greeters handing it to you, and it being touched by 5, 6 different people before it gets into your hands, each of which could potentially cause some contamination. So that's that purpose behind it. We just want to be as safe as we can. So again, what we will be doing is using the screen and displaying at least all of the necessary information. We may not put everything that's typically been in a bulletin up on the screen, but most of it will, especially stuff that you are going to be asked to participate in. If there's any kind of a responsive reading or unison prayers, those things will definitely be on the screen for you to follow along on. I realize that's going to take a little getting used to, both from you and from me, or from Carl, or whoever might be trying to work the PowerPoint. Um, and it's going to take a little bit more work for me to create those PowerPoints between worship, or yeah, between Sundays. But we're okay with that. We might also be doing a PowerPoint of announcements so that you can see what's going on, and that'd probably be taking place for 15 to 20 minutes before worship. Anyway, uh, again, social distancing. We just ask that you do the best you can with that, both while you're sitting in the sanctuary. Again, stagger your spots, keep some space. Don't sit directly behind folks, as well as afterwards and in Sunday school. Uh, when worship is done, we're trying to do. There's a couple times during the day on a Sunday when bottlenecks might happen, where we get these clusters of people. And one of those is at the end of worship, as people are trying to get out and everybody wants to stop. And, well, not everybody, but a lot of people want to stop and shake hands with the pastor and that kind of thing. So there's going to be some things we're going to be doing. First, I'm not going to be at the back of the sanctuary. It's not that I don't want to say hello to you. It's not that don't want to say goodbye to you and wish you a good day and all that kind of stuff. But I don't want to try to hold up everybody at the back of the sanctuary as they leave. We're also going to ask you to stay seated until the ushers invite you to leave. That'll kind of pace things and space things out. So they're probably going to start from the back and just invite people to get up as you're and leave. When you leave, we're going to ask a couple things. Um, the best thing to do is if you could leave through the handicap exit, which is the Church Street, the ramp exit. If you can go out that one and walk around the building, if that's acceptable for you, if you can do that to get to the parking lot. Of course, that's very convenient if you're parking in one of the handicap spots on the street. The reason being that some folks might be coming early for the second service or coming to go to Sunday school and be going down those steps down into the kitchen there, down into the lower hall, Wolf Hall, which are kind of tricky. If you're staying for Sunday school, probably the best thing to do is to go out the second street door. That's the door with the landing and then a few steps. Go out that door, down the steps, and then go in through the lunch place door. That would be the best place because the Sunday school classes, most of them anyway, for right now are going to be downstairs, especially for the first two Sundays, the June 28th and July 5th. They're going to be gathered together as one group in Wolf Hall, all spread out, enjoying a Sunday school class together for those couple weeks. Afterwards, we're going to be using several of the rooms downstairs. And if your class is still upstairs, then just stay upstairs. But if you're going to be downstairs, go downstairs. And if you're arriving just for Sunday school, if you didn't come for the early service and you're coming for Sunday school, the best thing to do would be if you could use the lunch place store. Realize if you're in the parking lot, that's a little inconvenient for you. But again, that just helps prevent those clogs and people bumping into each other at the top of the stairs. Hospitality, greeting, the coffee time, that's going to be on hold. We don't know how long that's gonna be, but having food just sitting out and people walking around and breathing and touching things is really not a good idea. So that's on hold for now. Also, that does give us a lot of reason to gather together and get perhaps too close together. Too close together. I think I might have forgotten to mention choir. Choir is also on hold, um, at least until the fall. And if it restarts in the fall, that's probably going to take a little bit of a different form. Perhaps for choir members, we might not be able to sit in the choir loft, especially for rehearsal or whatever, when we're jammed so tight together. So we're not sure yet on how that's going to work out. We might end up just going with small groups to do special music, not only throughout the summer, but into the fall. Okay. Children's time. Ooh, didn't want to forget about children's time because we do have some kids that come to our worship services. And kids, hey, I love being with you guys, and I love sitting down next to you guys on the chancel steps. But that's probably not a good thing for us to do, at least as we first get started. Maybe that can go back to that sometime in the future. But for now, what we're going to ask is that you just stay where you're normally sitting. Um, I'll talk back and forth with you and come as close as perhaps as we can for doing that. For the offering, we once it, we and we started this a couple weeks before we had before we canceled in-person worship. We won't be passing an offering plate back and forth down the pews, being handled by so many people. What we will do is just have them at the back of the sanctuary, and you can put your envelopes, your cash, your checks, whatever it is, in the one of the plates, either on your way in or your way out. And if you need help finding those, just ask somebody, ask one of the ushers. They'll be happy to help point you to where they are. Oh, communion. We're going to try something different for communion. And if it doesn't work, we're going to try something else. But if you watched yesterday, if you worshiped with us yesterday, you might have seen me using one of these. It's a pre-filled communion cup. So it's actually two things. It's got both together here. It does have the cup of juice. It also has a little wafer up in the top. Yes, it's a wafer, and I realize they don't taste all that good. There was a priest I read one time who said, I find it easier to find Christ in the bread than I can in finding bread in the wafer. And this is true. This is true. But there are multiple layers here. It's been pointed out that some folks might have difficulty with this, especially if you've got bad arthritis. We're going to do what we can to help. Probably have one or two people wearing gloves to help you with that. I had a few different people try it yesterday, and I had someone try it this morning from different age groups, and they each could do it. All right, they each could do it. I think one of the keys is first to bend down this piece, and that does a pretty good job of separating the plastic barrier from the foil one underneath, the stiffer, more rigid plastic and aluminum. And what you're going to be asked to do when I ask you to have the bread is to peel off just the plastic part. It comes off pretty easy. You don't even have to peel it off all the way. And you access the wafer. And you eat the wafer, which mostly just dissolves in your mouth. By the way, these do have gluten in them, but we will have gluten-free wafers as well. Then I would ask you to open the cup, and you just peel up on that a little bit. I spilled a drop on my hand yesterday, nothing too bad, probably not more than I would normally do on a Sunday. And then drink. And it's just grape juice. No, I was lucky I had the garbage can right here, so I just tossed it in. We are going to ask you to just take it with you. Of course, communion is pretty close to the end of the worship service. Um, Maybe if you were concerned, you could have a little plastic baggie with you, or now that I'm thinking about it, maybe we can have a few of those in the sanctuary, one on each pew. Whatever works easiest, take them and drop them outside in the garbage can. We would appreciate that. Like I said, we're going to try that, and if that doesn't work, perhaps we'll have to try something else, which might end up being asking you to bring your own bread and juice to the sanctuary with you in the morning. And I realize that's not the best thing to do. Again, Sunday school again will be opening up on the 28th, and the 28th and the 5th is going to be all together. After that, we're going to be having different groups. Pastor Dave is working out based on the number of folks in each class, at least even the potential number of folks from each class, which group can meet in which room. And the same thing goes for small group ministries. Some of our small group ministries, Bible studies and prayer shawl ministry and stuff like that. Um, we may not be you may not be meeting in the room you typically met in the past. We might ask you to move someplace else where you've got more space. Some of our classrooms, the people end up almost elbow to elbow, and we just want to try to avoid that and space things out. I mentioned earlier, if you're not feeling well, we just ask you to stay home. Or if you don't feel safe just yet, don't be embarrassed. You can stay home. We're continuing to offer the digital worship, and that'll continue on ad infinitum. Um, we would ask, though, that if you come and you worship with us, not only on the 28th or the 5th or any of the Sundays after that, and within a couple days you don't feel well and you end up being tested positive for COVID-19, we would ask that you just let me know, either me or Dave. We'll keep things confidential. We won't let anybody else know who you are, but we would just want to notify folks who worshipped with us that Sunday, so we could avoid any issues or widespread, well, panic or spread of the disease. These guidelines or regulations, whatever you want to call them, they're not meant to be a burden. They're not meant to be too extreme. We just want to put every effort we can into creating that safe, healthy environment. And again, not only to be safe, but to feel safe. Okay, so we ask you to do your best to comply with the guidelines, um, and just try to help us out. And at all times, At all times, the wisdom is that at all times, please use caution and care, choosing to love and treat others as you would want to be treated. That is our guidance on that. And again, the the printed document, the actual document that I was just reading from, will be going on the Facebook page and on our website and be distributed through email and other ways as much as we can in the very near future, probably this afternoon. If not this afternoon, then tomorrow. I just have to make a couple changes that I just noticed. And thank you for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you again, both digitally and in person. Have a blessed day.